Good evening. Tonight we turn our attention to the Quad Cities, a region recovering from a night of severe weather. On Tuesday, June 3, 2025, powerful thunderstorms swept through the area, leaving a significant mark. These weren't just ordinary spring storms, they brought with them fierce winds, the threat of tornadoes, and widespread disruption. Thousands of families found themselves suddenly without power as the storm system unleashed its fury. The evening began with an unsettling sky, a common precursor to the dramatic weather that was to follow. Residents across eastern Iowa and western Illinois watched as clouds darkened and the wind began to pick up. Meteorologists had been tracking this potent system for days, warning of its potential. As the storm cells organized and gained strength, it became clear that this would be a significant weather event. The full extent of the damage would only become clear in the hours that followed, but the immediate impact was felt through the loss of electricity and the unsettling sounds of nature's force. As the severe thunderstorms raged across the Quad Cities on Tuesday night, one of the most immediate and widespread consequences was the loss of electrical power. MidAmerican Energy, the primary utility provider for a large portion of the affected region, reported a staggering number of outages. Nearly 19,000 of its customers were suddenly left in the dark and without essential power. Homes, businesses, and public services were all affected by this sudden and extensive blackout. The communities of Moline and Milan in Illinois were identified by MidAmerican Energy as bearing the brunt of the storm's destructive path. Residents in these towns faced a particularly challenging evening, navigating the darkness and the aftermath of the storm without the comfort and necessity of electricity.
It was really scary. The power went out so quickly and we were just left in the dark trying to figure out what to do next. The loss of power extended beyond mere inconvenience. It posed risks to vulnerable populations and disrupted essential services. Traffic lights went dark, creating hazardous road conditions. MidAmerican Energy faced an enormous task in addressing these widespread outages.
The primary culprit behind the extensive power outages experienced across the Quad Cities was the sheer physical force of the severe thunderstorms. Exceptionally strong winds, a hallmark of this particular storm system, wreaked havoc on the electrical infrastructure. These powerful gusts were not isolated. They battered the region for a sustained period, putting immense stress on trees and utility poles. A significant factor contributing to the downed power lines was the impact of falling trees and large branches. Saturated ground from previous rains, combined with the ferocious winds, caused many mature trees to uproot or snap. As these heavy trees came crashing down, they often landed directly on overhead power lines, pulling them down or causing the supporting poles to break. The cleanup and repair of such widespread physical damage to the grid presented a formidable challenge for MidAmerican Energy crews working through the night and into the following day. In the face of the advancing severe weather system, MidAmerican Energy had already taken important proactive steps. Understanding the potential for significant impact, the utility company placed its local line crews and essential tree removal teams on standby. This strategic preparation occurred well before the first raindrops fell or the strongest winds arrived in the Quad Cities. As the severe thunderstorms began to subside and move out of the immediate Quad Cities area, these pre-positioned crews commenced their vital work. Their first task was to conduct thorough patrols of the hardest-hit regions. The primary objective of these initial patrols was to meticulously assess the extent and nature of the damage to the power infrastructure.
We had our teams ready to go as soon as it was safe to start working. Our priority was to assess the damage and begin restoration efforts as quickly and safely as possible, to bolster the local efforts and expedite the restoration of power to all affected customers. MidAmerican Energy also mobilized additional support. Extra tree crews and more line workers were brought in from other operational areas that had been less impacted by the severe weather.
The stage for Tuesday evening's severe weather was set much earlier in the day, as meteorological agencies began to issue formal alerts. A severe thunderstorm watch was put into effect for the entire Quad Cities region, a broad area encompassing communities in both Iowa and Illinois. This watch was scheduled to remain active until 11 p.m. on that Tuesday, serving as an initial heads-up to residents. It signaled that conditions in the atmosphere were favorable for the development of dangerous thunderstorms, which could produce damaging winds, large hail, and potentially even tornadoes later in the day.
As the afternoon progressed towards early evening, these general advisories began to transform into more specific and urgent warnings for particular counties. At approximately 6:31 p.m., a severe thunderstorm warning was officially issued. This warning covered several key areas, including Scott County in Iowa and Rock Island and Mercer counties in Illinois, along with others. As the evening deepened, the intensity of the weather situation continued its upward trajectory, marked by a rapid succession of urgent tornado warnings. Shortly after 7 p.m., a new tornado warning was activated specifically for northwest Knox County in Illinois. This particular warning was set to remain in effect until 7:15 p.m., signaling an immediate and dangerous threat to anyone located within that designated path. A particularly alarming development during this critical time frame was the visual confirmation of threatening cloud formations near densely populated areas. Around 7:02 p.m., trained weather spotters observed either a funnel cloud or a distinct wall cloud, both recognized as potential precursors to a tornado, located southwest of the Quad Cities metro area. This crucial sighting was relayed and made visible through the KWQC Skyview camera, offering direct visual evidence of the storm's severe rotational nature and significantly heightening the sense of urgency for residents in the vicinity. The powerful storm system began to exhibit clear and dangerous signs of rotation directly over highly populated areas, significantly increasing the risk to public safety and infrastructure. At approximately 7:20 p.m., the Quad Cities National Weather Service reported that their advanced weather radar systems indicated strong rotation over the South Park Mall area. Simultaneously, similar rotation was detected near the Quad Cities International Airport. This meant that key components of the storm were spinning intensely, a crucial precursor for tornado development, directly above or perilously close to critical infrastructure and bustling commercial zones. Further emphasizing the gravity of the unfolding weather emergency, the National Weather Service issued another strong statement at 7:21 p.m. They declared that the Quad Cities area was facing not just a considerable threat, but also a high degree of confidence among forecasters of experiencing a damaging tornado. The rotation that had been observed just south of the Quad Cities airport was noted by meteorologists to be tracking in a northeasterly direction. This specific tracking information, coupled with the detailed threat assessment, provided vital, time-sensitive guidance for individuals situated in the storm's projected path. Even as some parts of the storm system began to move, its significant strength persisted, characterized by powerful, damaging winds and ongoing tornado threats across a broader area. At 7:36 p.m., the Quad Cities National Weather Service reported observing exceptionally strong wind speeds. Based on their sophisticated radar systems, these winds were estimated to be gusting between 65 and 70 miles per hour over the East Moline area. Such speeds are capable of causing considerable damage to structures and bringing down more trees and power lines, further exacerbating the outage situation. Furthermore, the threat of tornadoes had not entirely passed with the initial wave. Around 7:33 p.m., a radar-indicated tornado was identified by meteorologists. This particular circulation was heading towards areas located along and south of the busy Interstate 80 corridor in Henry County, Illinois. This meant that even as the core of the storm might have been shifting, dangerous elements capable of producing tornadoes were still active and posing a significant risk to communities slightly further east and south of the immediate metro area, requiring continued vigilance. As the most intense phase of the severe weather, including the immediate threat posed by tornado warnings, started to clear the Metro Quad Cities area around 7:39 p.m., the focus began to shift. Attention turned towards the daunting task of assessing the extensive damage left in the storm's wake. However, numerous hazards remain for residents attempting to navigate their neighborhoods. This was clearly evidenced when the Rock Island County Sheriff's Office issued an advisory at 7:57 p.m., urging people to completely avoid the Coyne Center area due to significant safety concerns related to the storm's impact. The specific warning for the Coyne Center area was issued primarily because of numerous downed trees that were completely blocking roadways, making travel impossible and dangerous. Fallen trees not only obstruct traffic, but can also hide downed power lines, creating an electrocution hazard. Emergency crews needed clear access to assess damage and begin cleanup operations, making it crucial for the public to heed such advisories. This highlighted the immediate post-storm dangers that communities face even after the thunder and lightning have subsided and the skies begin to clear. The city of Moline, which was confirmed to be one of the most heavily affected communities by the widespread power outages and storm damage, also provided updates to its residents. At 9:02 p.m., the city posted an official update on the storm situation via its communication channels. The impact on essential power services was not confined solely to customers of MidAmerican Energy. It extended to affect users of other utility providers across the broader region. By 8:02 p.m., Alliant Energy, another major utility company serving parts of Iowa and surrounding areas, reported that approximately 5,000 of its customers were also experiencing electrical power outages. This demonstrated that the severe storm system had a wide footprint, causing disruptions that extended beyond the immediate Quad Cities metropolitan core and into adjacent territories served by different energy providers. In communities situated slightly outside the main path of the most intense rotation, local officials were also taking stock and making necessary preparations. The village of Hampton, Illinois, provides a good example of this proactive community response. After conducting a thorough damage survey throughout their area around 9:04 p.m., Hampton City officials reported some positive news. As Tuesday night progressed into Wednesday, June 4th, utility companies provided a clearer picture of the extensive power outages. By 10:06 p.m., MidAmerican Energy reported a significant disparity. While Iowa had few outages, Illinois was severely impacted. 19,691 customers in Illinois remained without electricity, highlighting the storm's severe damage. With the storms gone, utility companies like MidAmerican Energy focused on damage assessment and power restoration. Numerous crews worked diligently through the night to restore power. Despite the challenges, the Quad Cities communities showed resilience and mutual support. Neighbors helped neighbors, and utility crews pressed on with the difficult work of restoration. Don't forget to subscribe and see you on the next video.